Okay, so I'm going to be reviewing the second movie in the Friday the 13th franchise, which is Friday the 13th Part 2, which came out in 1981, so it came out 1 year after the first movie. This movie, I'm not even going to get into the Friday the 13th timeline because it's just so freaking confusing, and I'm tired, I know. I'm just trying to get some of these reviews done because I got limited time to do certain things. So I'm gonna try to get some of these done. But like I said, the Friday the 13th timeline is so confusing, so I'm not even gonna get into it. But this movie is supposed to pick up the day or few days after the events of the first movie, and it's supposed to be set at a camp by Camp Crystal Lake. So it's not at Camp Crystal Lake; it's a camp by Camp Crystal Lake. And it follows, a group of new counselors. They're trying to set up the camp for the summer, and I recognize this too in the Friday the 13th movies. Besides the sixth one, you never actually see kids at the camp because the counselors usually get killed off before the kids even get there. So besides part six, so yeah, that's kind of interesting tidbit. Um, so like I said, follows a group of new camp counselors, and the it's like these people already know the Jason Voorhees lore, and they know like all these murders happen there, but they still go there for some reason, or they go near that area. But there's a character there are sitting around a bonfire, and basically one of the characters is telling them the events that happened in the first movie, and well, what happened to Jason as a kid, and the events in the first movie. And yeah, so basically it's kind of like the same as the first one, besides it's Jason now. Now it's Jason, and he's coming back, and he's killing all these camp counselors again. Like I said, this movie's more about the body count and how people die, so that's what I'm going to get into. Few things I liked about it was I liked the look of Jason in this movie. He this is before he got the hockey mask, so he wears like a burlap sack with one of the eye hole, one eye hole cut out. It's like this is that right there, and I just feel he looks more creepier in this getup than in the hockey mask, and I wish they would have kept it like that. But of course, I don't know why they changed it. But once he does get the hockey mask, which is in part three, uh, it kind of stuck in the rest of the series. Uh, there's a movie called The Town That Dreaded Sundown, which came out years before this movie, and the killer wears a burlap sack on his head, but he has two eye holes cut out, and I guess that's where they got the inspiration to make Jason look like that. Also, Jason's more like a inclusive hillbilly. He wears overalls and a plaid shirt, and he how he walks and runs is very animalistic. And I know people are saying, "Oh, Jason never run in the movies." Yeah, he does. Like he runs a few times, but it's not like constantly. Because I know people were complaining about that in the remake, but he does run in this movie and in part three. Um, but anyways, yeah. Some of the deaths in this are pretty cool. There's a one scene, a most infamous scene out of the movie. There's a couple having sex, and Jason comes in and he stabs them in the back with both of them. He impales both of them. He stabs the guys on top, girls on the bottom. He comes in and stabs them right in the back and goes to both of them. And that scene was taken from a giallo, or yeah, giallo, I think that's how you say it, called A Bay of Blood, because there's a similar death scene in that movie, and a lot of people said, yeah, there's a lot of similarities to in this movie to A Bay of Blood, because a lot of these slasher movies, especially the later ones, were based off or were inspired by uh, Italian giallos, which giallos are different from slasher films. They have more of a mystery element to it, and the killer's motives mostly based on like crimes of I guess, yeah, crimes of passion, or they're trying to steal something. But yeah, there's a scene too which is kind of messed up. There's a guy in a wheelchair who's like, he's trying to find love and stuff, and it's hard for him to do that. And Jason just freaking takes a machete and like hits him right in the face, and he rolls down the back. He rolls backwards down the stairs, and it just like cuts to white, like, "Banana." And I realized that a lot. Like a lot of these death scenes, like after someone's killed, it cuts to like this white flash. I was like, that's kind of weird. There's a death in here, which I mentioned in Halloween 2. There's a cop that sees Jason run across the road, so he goes into the woods. So he goes to follow Jason, and he finds Jason's shack or whatever. And I liked that. Like, I liked the look of his shack, and like the shrine he has of his dead mother's head, and her sweater. I don't know, like, it was just like kind of creepy, and I was like, yeah, I can imagine Jason living in that. Like, the shack just looked really cool and stuff. So I'm like, they need to use that like in Halloween Horror Nights for 1 year. But yeah. So the cop goes in there, and he gets hit in the back of the head with a hammer, but it's on the prong side and hits him in the back of the head. And there's a similar death in Halloween 2, but instead it's a security guard, and he gets hit in the head, but it's with the head of the hammer, not the prongs. And he gets hit in the back of the head too. But yeah. What is another memorable death? The main deaths I mentioned, those are like the most memorable ones. And there's kind of like continuity errors in it too. Like, or things that just didn't make sense. Like, there's a bunch of these characters that leave the camp to go drinking and stuff at this bar, and like some of the characters, you don't know where the hell they went, like what happened to them. There's a scene like underneath the bed, like I don't know why people are really complaining about that, where you see urine, and that's how like Jason finds out, like, Jenny, that who's the final girl, that's how he finds out she's under there. And they're like, is that rat piss or her peeing? And I was like, I don't know. It's probably her peeing. She's freaking scared. I don't know. Uh, what's another thing? Oh, and then there's this stupid thing, like this dog called Muffin, where you think that he kills the dog, but he actually doesn't. He kills another dog, and the Muffin shows up at the ending. And then, of course, the ending's confusing after she defeats Jason and stuff, because I guess she has like a little dream sequence where, okay, at the ending, she fights Jason. She uses the chainsaw and all that to fight him, and she goes to his shack. And how she stops is that she puts her mom's sweater on, and tricks him into believing that it's, his dead mother. And which I know a lot of people are like, well, why would he believe that? Jason's not that smart. But I, it's like, how could he like believe that was actually his mother, because she don't even look like him and all. And I know like they're showing like he like hallucinated like seeing his mother's face on her. But yeah, I guess that's like a nitpick. But after she hits Jason in the shoulder with the machete, it cuts to, I guess, a dream sequence where Jason jumps through the window after they find Muffin. Jason jumps through the window and grabs her, and then it cuts to her being taken away in an ambulance, and she's like asking, "Where's Paul? Where's Paul?" Was the guy that supposedly survived with her, and they don't know where he went. And they're like, "Oh, we didn't find him. We didn't find him. Whatever." And you're just like, so what? Was that a dream, or did that actually happen, or what? Did he like die or something? Uh, yeah, it's never explained, because in the third movie they use a whole different set of new characters. I'm trying to remember some more of the death scenes. There's one guy, he gets hung upside down. He's kind of like a pervert character. He gets hung upside down and he's swinging, and then Jason comes up and slits his throat. There's a scene where a woman gets stabbed, but it's not, you don't really see it on screen. There's sorry, um, yeah, those are, I'm trying to remember like all the death scenes, but those were like the main ones that stuck out. The guy in the wheelchair getting the machete to the face, and the couple having sex and they both get stabbed with the spear. Um, there's shoot, I'm getting off track. But anyways, yeah, this one also kills off the character of Alice from the first movie in like the first like 5 minutes of the movie. Like Jason magically, that's another issue. Like Jason magically somehow finds her where she lives and her address, and he stabs her in the head with an. So like she opens the fridge and she sees Mrs. Voorhees' head in the fridge. Then Jason comes up and stabs her in the temple and kills her. Which I didn't like that, because I'm like, that's kind of a shitty way to kill her off. and kill her off in the first 5 minutes of the movie. Um, what else I was gonna say? Uh, yeah, I mean, I just gonna wrap it up, but I thought this this sequel was okay. I mean, like I said, I'm not a huge fan of the Friday the 13th franchise. Uh, it's, just not my thing. Like, I like some of the movies, like this one I can watch. It's like the first four movies I don't mind watching, but ba- like I said, they just follow the same thing over and over again, so it's kind of like hard to elaborate on it. Like, like I said, most people they focus on the deaths in this movie, which I'm trying to remember them, but those are the main two I can remember that were like extravagant. Uh, I would recommend it. Like I said, it's one of the more enjoyable ones. But anyways, that's my review.